Okay, I'm going to show you now the 3 different balloon items to teach for the introductory sequence. The idea is that you start off very smooth and easy and slowly ramp up and get people stoked so they feel like, oh, I can actually do this and I want to do this. And then it becomes infectious and addictive and they want to come back. So the 3 things you teach is the balloon flower, then the 260 balloon dog, then the quick link giant dog. So I'm going to show you how I teach how to make this balloon flower. And really the idea is that there's no twisting in this. It's more like tying knots. So I always tell people, if you can make a grilled cheese sandwich, if you can operate a knife and a toaster, you can make this balloon flower. The other thing is I make it for them first so they see how it's done and then we all do it together. So the basic idea is you get 5 of one color. So I'm going to take 5 turquoise here and 2 of another color. This is a brand new color called coral, which is pretty cool. So the first thing you do is you inflate this to be the size of an orange and then you tie it like that. Now I don't have a pump. If some people have trouble blowing up the balloon, you can tell them to stretch it. You can also tell them to focus on their lip muscles, like they're whistling. You don't want to feel any pressure back here. If I had a pump, I would show you how to teach them with a pump, but I don't. So anyway, you inflate it. Now, a common mistake that people make, and you always want to be aware of this and explain this to people, and as you teach us more, you'll see the common mistakes that people make and you'll be able to fine tune them. But one thing people do is they really grab just a little piece of rubber here. You see just a little piece of rubber, and they start trying to wrestle with it and tie it. The truth is, you can tell them these are high quality balloons, so you can let a little bit of air out and then really yank it, and you see how long you can get this. Then you wrap it around 2 fingers and tuck the knot through the 2 fingers and just take your fingers out, and then it's tied. Then you take these 2 balloons and you tie them together. So almost, if you can imagine tying your friend's shoelaces in a knot. Sometimes people have trouble tying and some people don't have trouble at all. So again, you take it, stretch it out, you can let a little air out, stretch out, wrap it around 2 fingers and tie it. And then you can tell them once you start doing this a lot, you want to take a shortcut, you don't even have to tie each individual knot. You see I just inflated this, so I haven't tied it yet, and then I just tie it onto here like this. And another way is you could show them, see how I'm kind of wrapping it up so I'm making like an X shape. So then you do the same trick with the 2 fingers, put that through, and then you go. Now, so you have 2 sets of 2 balloons tied, and you want to add a 3rd one here. So again, I'm just going to tie this on here and grab it like this and tie it on. So now you have 2 and 3. And what you do is you take the knots here and you take the knots here, and where you make the knots touch each other, and then you just mix it up. And you tell them you mix it up like you're tossing a salad or mixing pasta. So there's no formula to remember. You don't have to say, well, I'm going to twist it 2 times to the left here and then 4 times this way. It's just, you just tossing the salad or mixing pasta. Alright, so now you have 5 balloons like this. Now, you grab the other color. And if this is the size of an orange, you inflate these to be the size of a tangerine. Like that. And you tie these together. Now the trick here is you want to tie these tightly together. What you don't want to do is tie these little guys like this. You don't want a bunch of slack like that. You want it to look more like this, where they're tight like this. And I'll show you why in a second. So now, you take these knots and you take these knots. The knots touch each other again, and you mix it all up like this. And now it looks kind of like an unimpressive blob that only a child or a drunk person would like. I use that line a lot. You're free to use it or make up your own line. But if you take the little ones, the smaller ones, and you put them opposite of each other and then move all of the bigger balloons around, then it takes shape like this. And then what usually happens is people say, oh shit, I made this, especially like people who don't consider themselves crafty or creative, maybe people who are more technical or like business students or science students, they feel like, oh shit, I just made something cute with my hands. And then I explain to them, you could use this in a lot of applications. Like if you have a friend who's sick in the hospital, if you can buy them flowers, but if you make this for them in the hospital room, they'll be freaking so happy, because it just, there's a whole little kind of show, and then you're really giving them energy by making it and showing that you care enough. Or if you want to ask a girl out on a date, this is a shockingly powerful tool to separate you from all the other suitors, because it shows that you're confident and sensitive, which is what women want. They want a guy who's confident and sensitive, and every guy knows those are like opposite ends of the spectrum. Very hard to do both at the same time. Anyway, balloon flower, and the more you teach it, the more nuance you'll get in seeing where people are at. The trick, of course, with all teaching is how do you get the people who are advanced and people who are, or clever I should say, or good, or naturally good at it, and people who are struggling to both kind of be in the same class at the same pace. That means a lot of dancing around. So don't be afraid to go in and actually kind of like help people. The trick is to facilitate their learning, but don't do it for them so they don't actually learn. You can show them where it goes, but then allow them to actually move it themselves there. All right, balloon flower.